Hello guys, and welcome to my Dying Light review. I have split my review in 9 categories or sections that goes from the introduction, story, performance, graphics, audio, sound and music, playability, replayability, multiplayer, conclusions, and final score. And the final score, I'm giving points from 0 to 10 of the aspects that can be qualified. So let's start. Dying Light is a new survival horror game that it's classified under the category of action FPS and RPG. You are the protagonist and must survive and evolve in a quarantine city which is infested by zombies and evil survivors. So when I mean with FPS and RPG, everyone maybe knows, but maybe some not. RPG elements are added to this game in the way that you can improve your skills by using them, for example, or craft bombs, craft items, upgrade weapons. So those RPG elements are mixed into a FPS game, like could be Quake, for example, or, so you understand what I'm talking about. So I will follow with the story, and the story, the plot starts with you that you are an operative working for the GRE and has been sent to a mission in the infected city. The things are going to get fast complicated, and the plot develops and it gets more interesting and intriguing. I'm not going to say anything now because I'm not going to spoil the game for you, but trust me, it gets very interesting. The characters that you interact also have strong personalities, which helps to make the story more believable, and they have a strong feeling too, and in a way makes you care about them. You become friends of them, and then you feel their emotions and you want to help them, and at the same time the enemies that hurt them, you hate them, and it causes that feeling on you, which the creators did very well, because some games they just feel like characters that they don't mean anything. You just shoot here, shoot there. Let's move to the performance. The performance of this game is a bit controversial because it depends on the rig that you own. It changes quite much, and by rig I don't mean, of course, that a good rig is going to perform better than a bad rig. No, some good rigs are performing terrible bad, and it seems like it's because the game is not really optimized for AMD. It's more an NVIDIA friendly game, so AMD users have reported horrible performance. I'm using a laptop that it's equipped with an NVIDIA 780 mobile, and for me the most part of the game has been working quite well. We can leave aside some issues on the release, that for example the menus were not working for me, or I couldn't even move the mouse. After looking 2 hours for it, going crazy and desperately wanted to try the game, I found a fix, and I have released a video that how to solve that bug. But I think that in the last patch it was corrected by them, so probably if you are playing the original version of the game, you are not going to need this. So for example, in my laptop that is with this graphics card 780M and my i7 4700 processor, it's an i7, I was playing playing full HD, maximum settings, the view distance 40%, and average 30 frames per second. But 2 days later of the release of the game, in the patch 1.2.1, my frames got a very nice boost, like maybe we're talking about 15 or even 20 more frames per second with the same settings. By the way, I have another video talking about the recommended settings for this game, that it looks the best in my opinion without sacrificing as much performance. So for me that's worked like that. And after the patch, even if I got this improvement, they said that they published that they know that there are still performance problems and they are working on fixes, but I believe that maybe it's more for AMD users. The thing is that the performance, even for me, I didn't have so many issues. They released fast patch that fixed many problems and everything. I think that they could have been doing a better job in the beta testing, and these things never should have been in a live game that you pay 50 euros and even that's without DLCs and everything, and you face the problem the first day that you cannot even play the game. So yeah, well, let's move to the other part of the game, like the graphics. In this case, I can say that the graphics of the game looks quite stunning on many things, on most of the things, but on others looks very bad. Like it's not the quality that this game shows in many aspects, and it's disappointing in those parts. For example, the worst aspect on the game maybe for me is the water, and the water is really bad, not just from the distance, that which I can understand because of the view distance, that maybe it was not the maximum, but the shadows in general, like the dynamic shadows, they are controlled by the HBAO, they are very good, but the flashlight shadows, for example, that they are dynamic and you move around, many times they look fake. You see like a fake texture like covering them. It looks not real, and I don't like it. But on the other hand, there are not many games that they are dynamic shadows like that. That, for example, you see these games that the characters, you are in a co-op mode, they are walking in front of you, there's a light, they create a shadow, they cast a shadow, but you walk by the same light and you don't cast any shadow, which maybe that's even worse because it looks, it doesn't make any sense. So maybe the idea was very good, but maybe they could make it better, or at least at higher, because I tried also in different quality of shadows and they were all looking bad. Yeah, you can see some video in the video that I'm showing you this, but so you see it, but maybe if you play the game you have noticed it already. But besides that, I can say that dynamic lighting, for example, the ambient lighting and shadowing, looks stunning, and the out wall is fully detailed. The city looks really beautiful. Besides that it's supposed to look like it's a disaster, but still it looks traumatically beautiful. Another thing that is good is the view distance. Well, at 100% performs horrible, you cannot play with it, but the good thing is that even if you had 0%, you don't have pop-up in the game, you don't have clipping, so that's a very good thing. The only thing it reduces is that the quality of the further distance, and that maybe of course the living things like, or dead things in this case like zombies, that they are moving from the distance, you don't see them, but at least the shape of the buildings and the streets and everything, they don't pop up, or there is no fog that they are hiding them. So if you are running away or escaping everything, it helps to that what you see is what you find when you start running to that way. Okay, let's move on to the audio part, and the audio does its job. It's quite good, I would say. The dialogues, for example, are very good, and the music is epic. It's many scenes wouldn't be that scary, but the music makes it really, really, really scary, and it fits perfectly with the theme. and the sound effects, some background noises that you can hear, like tools being moved, or cans that they have been hit, enemy growls, like the zombies when they come for you, like going like crazy. It causes the tension that sets you 100% into the terrific atmosphere. Playability. This is maybe the strongest aspect of the game. The feeling of the movement, that freedom that you have, is amazing. The parkour works perfectly, and for example, what I feel is that makes other games that they don't have that feel very slow and static. And you have to agree on that, when you go back to those games, you feel like I cannot jump this little box. It's like, come on. Even I will do that in real life, right? So that's something that the game added, and very beautifully. To all that freedom of movement, you can add that when you get the glide that you can build if you find the secret blueprint, that you can like fly a little bit. Well, a little bit at least. You can climb up fast, or you can use those grapples and to assist you, and then the glide to jump down. I know that, for example, the Far Cry has those grapples, but they are very static. You only can use them in some places, and not everywhere. Like here, you can use it almost anywhere that you are into distance, besides when you are getting out of the map. And the grapple thing, it's not by default. At the beginning you don't have it, and you get it when you train a particular skill, which leads me to the next part, because talking about the skills, the game offers three trees. They're classified in power, agility, and survival. They are leveled independently. That means that power, for example, is when you kill enemies, or different ways to kill them reward you with more points. So shooting enemies increases your power, for example, but climbing like crazy, doing crazy movements, and increases your agility. And survival, it's also leveled by when you depends, for example, if you use things around the wall, like there are some traps, you use them, and then you get survival as points. Besides that, we can say that the game, moving from the side of the skills, that the game offers a crafting system that can be used to make weapons if you find the blueprints, or you already got a DLC with blueprints. Mods for weapons, secondary gadgets. For example, I love those molotovs that you can make. They are awesome. You kill packs of zombies with just one molotov. Another good thing of the game is that the campaign is non-linear. That means that you are free to go just doing campaign quests, but you can stop in the middle and do side quests. People demand your help, or some mini quests that appear in the middle of running around, that you see like an icon in the map that there's an action point that requires your attention if you want to go, and then you rescue like civilians from zombies, or even other survivalists that they are the bad ones, they are enemies. And the good thing is the side quests is that maybe you think, yeah, side quests usually they are boring and they do not anything to the story, but I think that most of them, they are quite intriguing, and they fit very well, and sometimes even they complement the main story. So if you are going just to do the main quest, I wouldn't recommend it. I will try to make along the way as many side quests as you can. and doing quests, it also gives a lot of survival experience. Maybe probably the best source you can get of survival experience. And as more experience you get, you unlock more skills, which it's always going to be helpful to complete your quest and basically survive there. In many aspects, for all those things that I said, reminds me a bit of Far Cry, because it's an open world too, that the campaign is non-linear, side quests, skill trees, crafting systems. But this game, I would say that it takes all that in another level. The crafting is much superior, and the skill trees, for example, are more appealing. You have 3 in Far Cry 2, but they are more. The skills are more like, I don't know. You feel like you really improve in many of them, or it has a cool effect. The others are more like, if you don't get that, you cannot complete the game almost, or it makes very difficult. But here you could still be with many skills, but it complements you very well. The game, this game that I like, also adds a new feature that when the time changes and you see that the day changes, so the light changes during the day, and it's a day-night transition, which maybe other games had, like Far Cry once again. But the thing is that it changes the conditions in the game. During the night, for example, out there are special zombies that they are afraid of UV light. That's why during the daylight they are not there, only in caves and stuff like that, but not places that you regularly go. And those zombies are extremely dangerous. It's like a joke compared to a average zombie. Even those zombies that when you make a sound that they come for you and they can climb better, they are still a joke compared to those, because these ones are really strong. You can empty a full magazine with a machine gun and they are still running towards you. In the latest moment of the game, when you unlock like really strong melee weapons, you can face them, but not too many at the same time, because they do a lot of damage too and they can kill you. So the best is to run away, and running away you get more agility points, and if you manage to escape, which gets to you in a safe zone that they call the game, like during the night you can go to a safe zone, and then you get more points if you complete escape. If you want to skip the night, you just go to the safe zone, you sleep the night there, and a new day comes and you play during the day. But there are some missions that are can only be complete during the night, especially the side quests. And the reward of playing the night, you might think, besides that during the night your skill points are doubled, and whatever you do you get double experience, especially the agility one. You notice it, you see like those jumps and running and everything. Also makes the game more scary and more that you need to take care. You need to turn off your flashlight, if not they see you easier, and those things. Yeah, I think that at the beginning I was very scared, and like probably you will, or you have been there, but then after a while, as you evolve during the game, you get used to it, and then you try more. And all that amazing playability brings to the next point, replayability. Once you're done, you can continue discovering the world and doing side quests, which is good. Killing hordes of zombies, it's always something fun to do, right? And if you have already completed that and you don't want to do more side quests and everything, you also can rediscover the game in cooperative point of view. You can play with a friend or something and start from the beginning, and that's also nice to do, if unless you have already done that while leveling normally, of course. but usually in my case I level it more like alone, and then I play more because I want to feel the experience, because when you play with other people in cooperative they skip videos and stuff, cinematics that I want to see. And then for example, an advantage of this is that a game like Call of Duty, to say a name, or Battlefield, when the game, talking about single player, when the game is over, it's over. You are not going to play the campaign again. Yeah, maybe you can increase the difficulty, but no, let's face it, it's too identical both times. This game, if you replay it again, you have the quests that they are maybe the same, but many side quests that they appear, the locations are different, and it feels like more dynamic. It's not perfect, of course, but it's difficult to be a game completely replayable, that you can replay it and everything will be new. But this one at least is not as bad as those games I was mentioning. But then we go to the multiplayer part, and the multiplayer part it's really funny. Either if you play the zombie, it called the zombie, which it's really funny, and you might think that it's very easy, but actually if the enemies, we're talking about human enemies, they are very well synchronized. In my opinion, the zombie, there is not much that you can do. In a way, I haven't played, like for example, as a zombie with many skills. I haven't unlocked them yet, but it feels like they can flare you, flashlight you, and everything. And if they are like especially 4 people synchronized, covering all the angles, it's like really difficult to attack them. But it's really funny. It's really funny to play in multiplayer, and maybe it would be nice that to have some more multiplayer modes, but they said that's something that they are going to add. And yeah, for example, I would like to see a mode that it was like kind of 3 factions, because of the facts that I was talking about. The humans, they play together, and the zombie, it's very difficult to, if they are synchronized. But if you made, for example, a mode where 3 factions, the runners, that they are called, the good ones, and the rise, the bad ones, fighting for a common objective that they want, and then the zombies there stalking both of them, and maybe they are fighting between each other, and the zombie can take them down, or even sometimes they help each other to go against the zombie, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend in some conditions. So I think that would be a very funny thing to add if they did. Well, after all what I've been talking, I hope if you are not tired and if you are still listening, I will go to my conclusions, and after conclusions, the final score. Well, so here I go. My conclusion is that I really enjoyed the game. In overall, it's excellent, very funny, addictive, and it's fast-paced with a lot of mobility. And on the top of that, it looks great. A huge open world, because you have 2 parts of the cities, and it's very big. Fully detailed with really good graphics, and sound, which immerses you in the story really quick, and not many games can do that well, at least. It is something that I should say that it's a bonus, is that you can play on different platforms, and I'm not talking about consoles and PCs, I'm talking about Linux. For example, Linux lovers will really appreciate that if you can play on your Linux platform. The campaign is also very immersive, but if you just focus on the campaign missions, it feels a bit short. Like, actually, I haven't seen any game nowadays that the campaign is long. Usually if you just focus on campaign missions and you go, it's quite short. But the good thing is that there are many large side quests, and they are very appealing to do. They are not just grinding stuff, and it helps to make feel that the game is longer, and actually you should do the side quests. I think that if you don't do them, you missed big part of the game, not just because of the rewards that you get and everything, it's just because you miss an experience. So my final score, here it goes. I classified it like 6 scores, and then I give an overall. For example, the story, number 1 is the story, and it gets a 9. The story is very good. Number 2, the graphics, gets an 8. The third category, audio, gets another 8. Playability is number 4 category, and it gets a well-deserved 10. Replayability, I will say an 8 because of the multiplayer options, cooperative options that they were showing that you can do and everything. And multiplayer, a 7 because I miss that could be more game modes, and I hope that they are going to add in the future. So that concludes in a final score of 8.3, which is very good, I will say. Maybe a few will say, why not more points on graphics? Well, it's mostly because of the things I mentioned before, and it's not a world that destructible world like Battlefield, for example, that you can shape it more or less, but it does a good job and everything, so I made it. I think it's fair. Something that I didn't mention, and I will add now before I conclude with the review, it's that very good news is that the developers say that it's going to be mods, and they are releasing mod tools, which I hope that they go through it and it goes like as well as they did with Half-Life 2, that game that they released many mods, Counter-Strike for example, maybe the most popular. So yeah, I really hope, and then if they make that possible, and of course for free, then the game for sure will have much more replayability, in the way that it's not just a game, you get several games into one game. On the other hand, something that I feel bad, that it was very bad, is that before you release a game there is already a DLC, and DLC is supposed to add content after the game, not just before, because it makes you feel like if you get a gimped version of the game and it's not complete, and they just add few things and then they make you pay like $20 or whatever it is for that, which for what I have seen, I don't think that at this moment the what you get in the DLC is worth it in Dying Light. The game itself, it's totally worth it, but the DLC, no, I wouldn't recommend it. Actually, there are not many games that I see that the DLC, nowadays at least, they are bringing something good. For example, in Dying Light, it's just one map that it's like a never-ending zombie attack, and there's an extra mission, which I don't know how long it's going to be, but well, you guess, and some weapons. So well, not really so much for almost half price of the game. But anyway, I think in overall, to finish already, is that it's a really amazing game. If you haven't bought it, I really recommend it to buy the game, not the DLC, and that you enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day, and goodbye.